Snow drifted through the crisp December air, settling softly on the cobblestone streets of the city square. Christmas lights dangled above the bustling walkway, glowing like tiny stars. Vendors sold roasted chestnuts, children chased each other through the snow, and carolers harmonized under twinkling lights. But amid the warmth and noise, a faint, almost invisible shiver of loneliness sat on the edge of a nearby bench. A little girl, no older than 9, hugged a worn-out backpack to her chest. Her coat was too thin for winter, her shoes too old, her gloves mismatched. Her golden-brown hair fell in tangled strands around her cheeks. Her eyes, though bright, carried a kind of heaviness no child should ever know. Her name was Hannah, and tonight she was hungry. But she didn't approach anyone. She didn't beg. She simply watched people pass and breathed into her hands for warmth. Not far away, a man and his 2 daughters stepped into the square. The man, Evan Carter, carried an old portable keyboard strapped over his shoulder. His coat was modest, patched in places, and his gloves were thin, but his smile was gentle, tired but gentle. His daughters, Lucy and Maya, identical twins with dark braids and rosy cheeks, bounced beside him with excitement. "Daddy, look, snow!" Maya squealed. Lucy twirled in a circle. "Can we play before you start playing piano?" Evan chuckled. 10 minutes, then we'll set up." He set the keyboard down beside a large holiday tree, dusted snow off the keys, and plugged it into a small portable speaker. His fingers brushed the instrument with a familiar tenderness. Music had carried him through every hard year, through heartbreak, through loss, through sickness, through rebuilding a life as a single father. Now street performances helped him pay rent through winter. As he started adjusting the volume, he noticed the little girl on the bench, thin, shivering, watching him, but not his face. Watching his hands on the keys. Evan paused. His daughters noticed too. "She looks cold," Lucy whispered. Maya nodded. "Daddy, can we give her a cookie?" "We can do better," Evan said softly. He approached the girl, careful not to startle her. "Hey there," he said gently. "Is everything okay?" Hannah stiffened. She looked at him, ready to run if he demanded anything. "I'm fine," she lied. "I'm just sitting." Maya stepped forward with a smile. "Do you like music?" Hannah's eyes flicked to the keyboard. "Yes," she whispered. Evan crouched down to meet her at eye level. "Would you like to come closer? You can listen while we play." Hannah hesitated. "I don't want to bother you." "You won't," Evan assured. "Music's better when you share it." Lucy held out her hand. "Come sit with us." Something inside Hannah cracked. Not enough to fall apart, just enough to let warmth in. She stood slowly, clutching her backpack, and followed them. The twins sat on small stools beside the keyboard. Evan pat the empty spot near them. "Right there is perfect." Hannah sat. Her breath trembled. Evan started playing a soft melody, calming, warm, gentle as the winter snow. It swirled around the square, drawing people in. Phones lifted, smiles formed, but no one listened harder than Hannah. Her eyes followed his fingers, every movement, every note. Music meant something to her. Evan could feel it. Some kids listened passively, but Hannah absorbed every note like it was oxygen. "You like piano?" Evan asked quietly while playing. Hannah nodded. I listened sometimes. I never played." "Want to try?" Hannah froze. "Me?" The twins beamed. "Yes, Daddy can teach you." "I can't," Hannah whispered. "I don't know how." "That's why you learn," Evan said. "Only if you want to." She hesitated, then slowly, she reached out. Her small fingers touched the keys. Evan guided her hand gently. "Start with this one." A soft note echoed. Her eyes widened. She pressed it again, then another. She gasped quietly. "You're doing great," Evan encouraged. That was when she smiled. A small one, fragile but real. Evan had no idea that one smile would set fate into motion. A crowd grew around them as Hannah learned her first few notes. People whispered things like, "She's adorable," and "Look how sweet he's teaching her." Someone tossed bills into the small tip jar, but Hannah didn't notice any of it. She was lost, in the best way. "Keep going," Evan encouraged. "Try this pattern." He played a slow, gentle tune. Hannah followed, a little clumsy but determined. Her fingers trembled with cold, but her focus didn't break. "Daddy," Lucy whispered, "she's really good." "She has a feel for it," Evan murmured back. A small girl pushed through the crowd to stand beside Hannah. She was about the same age, bundled in a warm coat with braids and a beanie. Her father approached behind her. "You're playing really well," the girl said shyly. Hannah's cheeks flushed. She wasn't used to compliments. Evan watched her posture lift, just a little. She mattered. Someone saw her. A moment later, a vendor walked over with hot chocolate. "For the musicians," he said warmly. Hannah stared at the cup like it was gold. "Are you sure?" "Yes, sweetheart," the vendor said softly. "You earned it." Hannah held the warm cup carefully, breathing in the scent deeply. Hot chocolate was a luxury she hadn't tasted in months. She sipped, closed her eyes. Evan felt something twist in his chest. This child wasn't just alone. She was living without basic warmth. "Where's your family, Hannah?" he asked gently. She froze again, her shoulders tensed. "They're gone, not dead, just gone." Evan's heart broke. "I'm sorry," he whispered. Hannah shrugged, trying to appear strong. "I'm okay." But she wasn't. Anyone could see that. "Stay with us a while," Evan said. "Tonight you can be part of our music." Hannah's eyes shimmered. "Really?" he nodded. "Really?" As the evening grew colder, Evan began playing a more emotional melody, one filled with longing and hope. Snowflakes fell thicker now, landing in Hannah's hair as she leaned closer, listening to every note. Then something happened. Evan started playing a different song, one he hadn't played in years. The melody poured out of him naturally, like old memories rising through his fingers. It was the lullaby he used to play for his late wife. Soft, nostalgic, deeply romantic. People turned quiet. The crowd softened. Phones lowered. Something about the melody pulled at the heart. Even Hannah stilled, but someone else felt it more strongly than anyone else in the square. A woman, standing just behind the crowd. Her breath caught. Her eyes widened. Her hand flew to her mouth. She knew this song. The melody hit her like a ghost from the past. Tears gathered instantly. Her blonde hair, perfectly curled, shimmered under the golden lights. Her ivory coat and red dress made her look like she'd walked out of a holiday movie. Her heels crushed into the snow as she took a trembling step forward. Her name was Vivian Hale, one of the most powerful businesswomen in the city, a billionaire many admired and feared. But right now she was none of that. Right now she was a mother hearing something she never expected, a song she thought she'd forgotten, a song tied to a past she never spoke of. And as she stepped closer, her eyes fell on the small girl sitting at the piano. Her face went pale, her hands shook, her world nearly collapsed, because the girl was her daughter. "Hannah," she whispered in horror. "Oh my God." She pushed through the crowd with urgency and panic. Evan looked up, still playing, and froze. The air shifted. The twins looked between Evan and the elegant woman, now approaching with tears and fear in her eyes. Hannah turned, and her eyes widened. "Mom!" Her voice cracked into a broken whisper. Vivian's knees nearly buckled. "Hannah!" she gasped, rushing forward and collapsing beside her daughter. She cradled Hannah's face with shaking hands. "Baby, where have you been?" "I've been searching everywhere. I thought—" Her voice shattered. The crowd murmured. Evan pulled his hands from the keys slowly. He looked between them, stunned. "You know her." Vivian hugged her daughter so tightly it looked like she feared. If she let go, Hannah would disappear again. "She's my daughter," she whispered. "My baby." Hannah hugged her mother back, but her shoulders trembled with fear and confusion. "You left," she whispered. "You didn't come back to the shelter." Vivian sobbed. "No, sweetheart, I would never leave you. The shelter moved you to a new location before I arrived. They wouldn't tell me where. I've been searching for days." Evan's chest tightened. "She's been alone?" Vivian nodded, wiping mascara from her cheeks. "I was going crazy trying to find her." Hannah's voice wavered. "I thought you didn't want me anymore." Vivian broke completely. No, never. Don't think that, Hannah. I love you more than anything." The twins huddled beside Evan, watching the emotional reunion. Vivian finally turned to Evan. Their eyes met. Her breath caught. "You," she whispered, "you were teaching her." Evan nodded thoughtfully. "She was cold, scared. She needed help." Vivian swallowed hard. Her voice trembled. "You didn't have to do that, but you did." Evan shrugged lightly. "Because she needed someone." Vivian looked at him longer than necessary, and something softened in her. Something warmed. A spark flickered behind her tear-filled eyes. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for giving my daughter kindness when she had no one." Hannah pulled away slightly. "Mom, he taught me a real song." Vivian blinked, surprised. "You played?" Hannah nodded. "And he played this song, the one you know." Vivian froze. Her heartbeat thumped loudly in her chest. Slowly, she looked back at Evan. "How do you know that melody?" she whispered. Evan hesitated. "I wrote it years ago, for someone I loved." Vivian's breath vanished. She covered her mouth. Because she knew the truth. She knew that song too, very well. "Who?" she whispered shakily. "Who did you write it for?" Evan looked down, sadness flickering across his face. "My wife." Vivian felt her lungs collapse. "The melody," she murmured. "Was it called Winter's Promise?" Evan's eyes shot up. "Yes, but how do you know that?" Vivian's vision blurred with fresh tears. "Because," she said softly, voice wavering, "someone once played it for me, a long time ago, someone I lost." Evan's throat tightened. "You knew the composer?" Vivian nodded slowly. "Yes, I did." Evan stared at her, but before he could ask more, Hannah spoke again, tugging her mother's sleeve. "Mom, I want to stay here a little. With them." Vivian looked at her daughter, safe, warm, smiling for the first time in days. She nodded. "Of course." Evan pulled out another stool for Vivian. "You can sit with us," he offered. Vivian hesitated. A billionaire. A woman who never shared her world. A woman whose life was built on walls. Yet tonight, she sat, right beside Evan, and the snow fell around them like a blessing. Evan played again, softer this time. Hannah leaned against her mother. The twins swayed happily beside the piano. The crowd melted into the moment. Vivian watched. Evan's hands move across the keys, steady, strong, gentle. She exhaled shakily. "You're gifted," she said quietly. "It's just something I held on to," Evan replied. "Music is a way to survive." Vivian nodded slowly. "I understand more than you think." They played until the crowd thinned and the snow grew thicker. Hannah's eyes drooped. The twins yawned. Evan packed up the keyboard. Vivian stood and wrapped her coat tighter around Hannah. "Can I give you a ride home?" she asked softly. Evan shook his head. "We take the bus, it's fine." Vivian frowned. "It's late and cold, I insist." The twins' eyes widened. They'd never been in a billionaire's car. Evan hesitated, but Vivian's sincerity was clear. He nodded. "All right." They walked toward a sleek black car where a driver waited. As Evan opened the back door for the twins, Vivienne watched him with a gentle curiosity. "You're a good father," she said quietly. "Trying," he answered. "You're doing more than trying." Their eyes met again. Something shifted, something warm, something dangerous, and beautiful. The car drove through snowy streets. Hannah rested her head on her mother's shoulder. Vivienne stroked her hair tenderly. Evan stared quietly out the window, lost in thought. Vivienne finally asked, "Why were you playing my song tonight?" Evan sighed softly. "I don't know, it just came to me." Vivienne smiled faintly. "Maybe because I was meant to hear it." Evan looked at her, and in that moment, the music they shared connected them deeper than words. When the car reached Evan's modest apartment building, he thanked Vivienne and stepped out with the twins. The cold air nipped their faces as the girls waved at Hannah through the window. Vivienne rolled down her window slightly. "Evan." "Yes?" Vivienne hesitated. "May I contact you again? For Hannah's lessons?" Evan smiled gently. "She's welcome anytime." Vivienne exhaled in relief. "Good night, Evan." "Good night, Vivienne." The car pulled away, carrying a mother and daughter reunited. Evan lifted his daughters into his arms, one on each side. Lucy whispered, "Daddy." "She liked you." Maya nodded. "A lot." Evan laughed lightly. "Girls." But he looked down the street where the car vanished, and something inside him wondered, was this the end? Or the beginning? It was the beginning. Because the next morning a black car waited downstairs, and Vivienne Hale stood beside it in a white coat with a hopeful smile. "Evan," she said softly, "may we join you for breakfast?" And from that moment, everything changed. Music tied them together, loss connected them, healing grew between them, and a single act of kindness, teaching a lonely child piano, brought two broken families into each other's lives. A billionaire mother, a single father, three little girls who needed one another, and one melody that bound their hearts forever.